I just started reading the book, but I've been reading all of your missives leading up to the release of the book, and I picked up the book, and the title itself, "The End of the World is Just the Beginning: Mapping the Collapse of Globalization." Gee, just the kind of thing I want to read. I I go into the first chapter, and by not even halfway through the end of the first chapter, I feel like I just want to kill myself because what's the point of going forward? So, talk me off the ledge and tell me that when you talk about the world as just the beginning, it's just the beginning of the end of the end of the world, and it's going to get worse? Give me some hope here.
Well, yes to all of those questions. The whole idea of the project is to explain how we got to where we are. Why are we here? Why does the economy look the way it does? Why do we do mass manufacturing this way? Why do we ship energy that way? All of it. And then to execute a change in condition. Because you can't have mass manufacturers, you can't have global agriculture without an open system. That open system we know is globalization. That's what's in danger. And so if you remove the structures that allow mass trade to happen, it's not that we're all going to die, it's that we're all going to do things differently so that we don't die. Now, unfortunately, not everyone can play. Instead of having a single global whole where everything is traded and everyone can specialize, we're going to be seeing that section broken up into dozens, maybe even hundreds of separate national or multinational systems that trade within themselves with limited connection to others. That's an end of global transport. That's an end of global agriculture and global manufacturing. But not all of those pieces are going to be the same. Just as it was before World War II, you had parts that had surplus energy, and so they went a certain direction with their industry. You had parts that had surplus agriculture, so they went a different way with population policy. You had places that didn't have agriculture, their population stayed tiny, and they were probably going to be a colony if they had anything else that was useful. We're going back to an older rule set. But the North American system, that's 1/3 of the global total for consumption, and it's a net energy exporter, and it's a net food exporter, and it has the most advanced industrial plant in the world. That industrial plant needs to grow. It probably needs to double in the next 5 years. That's inflationary. That'll be painful, but it will be accompanied by some of the fastest growth we have ever seen if we do it right. So it's the end of the old system, but in change is massive opportunity if you're in the right spot. And we are.
Okay, so along the same lines, does that mean that as the supply chains are being reconfigured, do we really bring more onshore into North America? Do we try to bring most everything we do? If you're a North American manufacturer, or even if you're an international multinational, but you want to sell to the U.S. in the consumer market, do you make everything here versus what we specialized in before?
Again, the short answer to all of that is yes. We were going through the fastest industrialization in the country's history back during the Obama years because of the shale revolution. When Trump came in with the trade tariffs, we saw stuff moving out of China. Some of it came here. So it doubled down on what happened because of shale. Then we had the pandemic that interrupted all the supply lines, and we had to kick it into high gear. Then Biden came in and only did away with one of Trump's sanctions, the one against Airbus, as part of a deal. And that convinced everybody that this idea of renationalize everything was bipartisan. And now we have the Ukraine war that's disrupting all the commodity markets, where we realize we have to become more and more and more independent ourselves. So the number of people and the number of sectors that have been affected by this, where it's changed the mindset, has continued to accelerate. And even Apple, the company that has doubled, tripled, quadrupled down on every aspect of China, finally in May is like, well, shit, we need to start looking at other places where we can build this stuff. And they are the last men to the party. So, we might get iPhone 14, we'll see, but there won't be another one until at least 2028.
20 what?
2028. That's, I'd say, the soonest that they'd be able to get the institutional infrastructure up and running.
Okay, so you mean here in the United States?
Probably not exclusively, but most of it, yeah.
All right, but you're talking about the demographics. We're already having a problem with demographics. So
Sure.
where are we going to get the employees in the United States or Mexico, Canada to?
There's not enough. The Canadian demography is terminal. They're about to have their mass retirement. They don't have much of a replacement generation. In the United States, we have the millennials, but they're here. And the Zoomers all want to be coders. So, there's some hope there if you're in that space. Mexico has a population of about 130 million, of which 35 million are in northern Mexico, and there's already a very strong American-Mexican nexus there. Once you burn through all of the northern Mexican population, though, Central Mexico is almost a different country from an economic point of view. That's going to be a harder carry at a higher cost. After that, the next logical add-in is Colombia. So you've got fairly substantial population at a lower price point and a lower skill level that is very comparable to where Mexico was in the 90s. So that's kind of going to be the new Mexico. And then if the Brits ever figure out Brexit, it will probably result in them de facto joining the NAFTA system themselves. So you're talking about 250,000 people in addition to what we have in the United States that are going to play. That's not a small group, and that's before you start considering Southeast Asia, which I'm pretty bullish on as well. You can see a Southeast Asia, Western Hemisphere, Anglosphere sort of economic grouping that comes out of this that from a security point of view makes a lot of sense. None of the countries in that group are really in danger zones.